Welcome back to the deep dive. You came here looking for essential, crystal clear information that, really cuts through the noise and genuinely applies to your life.
Information that should be foundational for everyone, really.
Exactly. And today, we're doing a deep dive that challenges maybe the most central assumption of modern life.
Which is the idea of human autonomy.
Right. It's this radical thesis based on the material we've been looking at. We all believe our character and our willpower operate independently.
That it's all just mind over matter, that discipline is just a choice you make in your head.
But the sources are arguing that this assumption is just, well, false.
Completely false.
Okay, let's unpack this right away. The claim is that we are literally, and I mean literally, biochemical products of the food we eat.
And this goes so far beyond just feeling a bit sluggish after a big meal.
Oh, way beyond. The sources claim that food is the ultimate biochemical lever. It controls everything. Our emotions, our character, our willpower.
Even our capacity for deep inner focus. Our spiritual life.
So the mission today is to take this huge, complex claim and just make it simple, make it relatable for you.
We need to trace the exact chain reaction. How do these simple food choices, the things you put in your mouth every single day, turn into these huge, life-altering outcomes?
We're basically tracing the pipeline from nutrition to personality. And the key to understanding this control is a foundational mechanism.
A 4-step biological control sequence.
What is that sequence? How does food create our reality?
It's a cascade, really. It starts with the food, which directly impacts the gut and the intestines.
Okay.
Then how the gut processes that input affects the bloodstream. And the quality of your blood, that dictates the stability of your hormones.
And hormones are the managers of the entire system.
Precisely. They are the chemical regulators. They govern our internal states, our energy, everything. And if the managers are in chaos...
They transmit chaos to the brain.
Exactly, which controls our behavior. And that, at the end of the day, determines the entire trajectory of our life.
So the implication is, well, it's unavoidable. If you change the food, you literally change the person.
You move from being a biological puppet, just pulled around by these unstable signals, to being the clear, conscious driver of your own life.
And this is the stability that everyone needs, no matter what their goals are.
If you're looking for clarity, strength, consistent performance, you have to stabilize this base first.
And this puppet master effect is maybe clearest when we look at the hormones of dependency and stress, starting with insulin.
Right.
We all know insulin is the transport hormone, but the source material calls it something much more aggressive.
Yeah.
The hormone of dependency, addiction.
Yeah, and the triggers are exactly what you'd expect. Sugar, fast carbs, all that highly processed industrial food.
Things our bodies just weren't designed for.
Not at this scale. And this constant barrage, especially on top of a damaged internal ecosystem, your microbiome, it just sends the insulin response into a chaotic spiral.
So explain how that becomes dependency. I mean, it's more than just liking sweets, right?
Oh, much more. Insulin's job is to unlock your cells so energy can get in. When you flood the system with sugar, insulin spikes like crazy, trying to shove all that excess energy into storage.
And that spike creates instability.
Massive instability in the brain. It causes these intense cravings. The source material had a great line for this. It describes the person as becoming an animal running after the next piece.
But the key distinction the sources make is that insulin is really about energy control, not just about sweetness.
Exactly. When insulin is unstable, your whole energy distribution system is chaotic. The cells either get too much, too fast, or they start to resist, they lock the doors.
Which is insulin resistance.
Right. And this constant back and forth creates this biochemical dissonance. Your body is just out of sync. Dependency becomes the norm because your system is just frantically seeking stability.
It's in a constant low-level panic.
A panic state. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Now, next to that chemical dependency is the exhaustion from our second manager, cortisol.
The stress hormone.
Right, but we always think of it as external, a deadline, a fight. The sources say the problem is internal, chronic inflammation.
And this is the critical insight. Toxic, dead food causes systemic damage. The damage leads to toxins accumulating, which forces your immune system into a constant state of internal stress.
So you're always on high alert.
Always. That low-level inflammation keeps cortisol permanently raised.
The analogy they used was so good. It's like your body's a car, And you're driving it with the gas pedal just slightly floored 24/7.
You're never resting, there's no coasting. It's just this constant tension, this constant acceleration, and it leads to severe system imbalance.
And the symptoms, they're not just physical exhaustion.
No, they bleed into everything. Anxiety, irritability, you can't sleep, obesity, and just this profound loss of joy.
When cortisol is always high, your body is always prepping for disaster. The sources say it makes a person weak, submissive.
Yeah, you just lack the internal foundation, the stable base to resist life's pressures.
Yeah.
Willpower is great, but you can't fight a chemical fire with just your mind. It's a losing battle.
A losing battle. Okay, let's move to the hormones that govern happiness and motivation. Serotonin and dopamine.
And this brings it all right back to the gut.
Serotonin, the happiness hormone. What's the stat on that? Where is it made?
This one is startling. Approximately 90%.
90.
90% of your total serotonin is produced and regulated in your gut.
Wow. So if you damage your gut, you are you are biochemically compromising your ability to be happy.
That's it. Toxic food damages the intestinal wall. It creates what people call leaky gut. The barrier gets too thick or too permeable, and toxins get into the bloodstream.
And the good bacteria.
Your microbiome, this essential internal farm, it dies off. And serotonin production just plummets.
And the results are, well, they're everywhere. Depression, apathy, no motivation, no pleasure.
And here's the aha moment for you listening. So many people think they're fundamentally flawed or they have some deep psychological issue,
When it could just be biochemical.
when the primary issue might be purely biochemical, rooted in their diet and a broken internal ecosystem.
That reframes everything about mental health. Okay, what about motivation? The drive to do things. Dopamine.
Right. Dopamine is the chemical of pursuit, of action. It's that drive. But the food we eat, so much of it is engineered to cause these sharp, artificial dopamine spikes.
Like cheap, easy, super tasty food.
Exactly. It just overloads the brain's reward centers instantly.
But what's the long-term cost of those constant spikes?
Receptor sensitivity just falls off a cliff. The brain adapts. The receptors basically go dormant or they get desensitized, and the person literally loses the capacity to want the hard things.
The things that require sustained effort.
Yes. You lose the ambition for the big project, building a business, mastering a skill, because those things require delayed gratification.
And instead, you just seek out hundreds of these little microdopamine hits a day.
That's chronic procrastination right there. You neglect the important task for the easy one, a quick scroll, a mindless snack. It's a biochemical crash, not a lack of discipline. You lose that inner stop or go control.
It sounds like we're just being chemically hijacked.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the systemic problem under all of this. Chronic inflammation.
The internal fire. It's slow, it's toxic, and it's often invisible until you hit a crisis point. The sources call it a slow work of destroying the personality.
So what's the link between a body that's physically irritated and, well, your character?
That constant internal burning causes constant irritability, nervousness. Your mind can't tell the difference between an internal stressor and an external one.
So it looks for a reason outside of itself.
Exactly. It forces the mind to find external causes for its internal discomfort. This results in that psychic instability, the emotional swings.
Brief moments of joy, followed by depression or anger.
And the key behavioral result is unpredictability. This is how people make huge mistakes, damage relationships, miss opportunities. The argument is really stark. A bad character often comes from a body that is constantly on fire.
And the root of that fire and the hormones is that internal ecosystem, the second brain.
The microbiome. The scale is just staggering. We are, mostly a colony. We are 910 microbes. It's our second brain, our immune system.
Its role isn't passive.
Not at all. These bacteria, yeasts, viruses, they are active producers of neurotransmitters. They dictate your mood, regulate your appetite, they influence your thinking. It's an internal farm that's supposed to be producing all these vital substances.
And bad food creates poverty on the farm.
Precisely. It creates instability. It leads to an internal war where the bad microbes start producing their own waste products, toxins that make your entire life chemically toxic and unstable.
Strong microbiome means a strong person.
It's a direct mechanical link.
This view of health lets us transition to the highest stakes, to our capacity for purpose, for deep work, for inner growth.
Right. If your body is on fire and your hormones are a mess, what capacity do you have left for anything else?
The sources talk about a lack of focus.
Yes. The lack of clean cellular energy makes deep focus impossible. Meditation, holding a complex idea in your mind, It's a non-starter. Your mind is scattered, pulled by all that internal noise.
Which leads to what they call moral and spiritual indiscipline.
Because when the biochemical foundations are broken, the higher feelings start to crumble. Empathy, compassion, mercy, they require energy.
Yeah.
And all your energy is being diverted to fight the internal fire.
The moral fiber of a person gets damaged.
Absolutely. The foundation is compromised.
Okay, this is where the material gets a little more abstract. They talk about toxic blood disrupting a subtle connection. What do they mean by blood vibrating at certain frequencies?
It's taking the cellular energy argument a step further. They're saying our blood, our internal fluids, they're electrically charged. When the fluid is toxic, it gets electrically muddy. It can't transmit the fine frequencies it's supposed to.
And the consequence of that muddy signal.
They argue it disrupts communication across what they call the plasma barrier, which is like the shield between a cell and its environment. In real-world terms, it messes with your intuition, your nonverbal awareness.
So you lose your gut feeling, your ability to make sharp decisions under pressure.
You lose connection to your stable, true nature. That's the ultimate loss.
But, and this is crucial, this whole catastrophic mechanism is reversible.
Fully reversible. You are not doomed to be a puppet.
So let's summarize the path to stability, the action plan.
The answer is clean, living food. It's the restoration tool. It rebuilds the microbiome, which stabilizes the hormones, which provides the cellular density, the clean energy for your brain and body to finally find equilibrium.
And the result is a total shift. You go from being the biological puppet
Pulled by cravings and toxic hormones.
to being the clear, conscious driver, piloting a super-sensitive sports car, as they put it, with precise controls.
You regain control over your body, your emotions, your mind, your life.
And the sources are clear. This isn't just self-help advice.
It's a non-negotiable prerequisite. For anyone who wants to thrive, you have to have a stable, non-inflamed base to build anything worthwhile on top of it.
That is the crucial takeaway. The base is either healthy or it's broken. There's really no stable middle ground.
And it's why short-term fixes, pills, motivational hacks, they only work for 5 minutes. They ignore the foundation.
They ignore the fire. So here's a final thought for you to carry forward from this deep dive. If the physical quality of your food is the single non-negotiable base for your character, your energy, and your moral discipline, then what high-level achievement or spiritual practice is truly possible if the foundation beneath it is constantly on fire? Your first act of discipline has to be to extinguish that fire. We'll see you next time.